John checking his phone.
I had to get the code.
On the code.
The secret code.
That sounds like a line from Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. David learned his secret code. I guess it's chord.
Yeah. Finally, sunshine.
Yes, it's nice.
Oh, and the sun was coming up this morning. It was just absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. I saw the sky was red. Of course, that means rain coming, but the sky was red. Real pretty red.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Dale. How are things in Iowa? We're not hearing you.
Nope.
We're not hearing you.
Now we can.
I don't know.
Now I hear
There it
you.
is.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Huh.
I'm off of mute anyway. I know that.
Okay.
Hi, Sylvia.
Hi,
Good
Sylvia.
morning.
Good morning.
You can have,
Things are a little lively here today.
yes.
I'll bet.
So they arrived safely?
They did, on time even.
Wow.
Wonderful.
We're having a great time. They're wonderful people.
Wonderful.
Good.
I'll tell you a little bit about them later. Yeah.
Good.
Morning, David. Chip.
Hi, David, Chip.
That sounds like one person, David Chip.
David, Chip.
It's like when my one of my best friends in high school told his mom that I was coming over. Said John Brent Bill was coming over, and she goes, "Who are they?"
This is Rashidi.
Rashidi.
Hello, Rashidi.
Rashidi Kamu.
Rashidi.
Katie.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So how do you like Iowa weather?
Mhm.
Iowa, Idaho,
Iowa.
Idaho.
How do we like Iowa weather? How do we like Iowa weather?
It's very cold, but
Very
Hi,
cold,
Megan.
very
Hi,
cold
how are
in
you?
Florida here this morning too.
Fine.
What, about 65 or something?
No, it's 47.
Oh,
47. Wow.
Well, it was 42 at the game last night.
Yeah.
We didn't walk the dog this morning.
Oh, okay.
There'll be consequences to that.
Probably right. Might bite my leg.
Morning, Megan.
Good morning. Who do we have a visitor with us?
yes, we do. This is Rashidi Kamu. Came from Zimbabwe, where he has been living in a refugee camp for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And is he permanently settling in your area or?
He is resettling right here in Marshalltown, at least to begin with.
Oh, how fantastic. Thank you.
Dan had met him. Dan that's a long story, but Dan's son had asked him to go visit a couple of refugee camps in hopes that Dan could take a student group, lead them, and that would be where their work team might find something to do in a refugee camp. So Dan went looking, didn't find that was especially appropriate. or suitable or even have space for guests. So so he didn't decide to take groups there. His son didn't decide to take groups there, but Dan has been back to visit Rashidi twice since then. I think 2016, 17, 18. Yeah. And he offered, because so few people get to go at a time. He said, well, if you ever get a chance to come, you can use my name. So here we are.
Fantastic. How, is that something that others could do, like we could do? Or is it?
Well, there's a lot to learn about the process. And
Yeah.
you probably are as familiar with it as anyone. But it's the way the United Nations operates to resettle refugees, and the fact that each country gets to state how many they'll accept.
Yes.
And it has been considerably diminished with the last administration, but it's coming up again to almost where we were before. I don't know exactly. So
I
there's
see a
more
lot of,
movement.
I see a lot of the children, you know, the undocumented children who come in as unaccompanied,
Oh,
but in the day job, but I don't see that kind of work too often.
yeah.
Well, so congratulations. Do you have any ideas about what you'd like to do now you're here?
What Rashidi would like to do?
Yeah,
He was, I don't know if you can understand his accent. We're
I can. Yeah.
accustomed to it. But sure, go ahead, try it.
Because my English is very bad. I don't know if you can hear me. But I don't have any idea to do to Zimbabwe because I'm already resettlement in USA. So this is becoming my residential country, and definitely if I go back maybe on for visitors or do something, but I can't go back there. Don't have any plan or any project, but project plan beginning here in USA.
Right.
Thank you, good people of God, to help us to be USA. Thank you.
So he said he's becoming a resident of the US and have no plans to go back. But I don't know if your question was, what are his plans here and what to do? He has been an anesthesiologist in Congo before he was in the refugee camp. So he has education and skills that of course can't be put to use here till he's certified in our country to do that kind of work. So the next week will give us some answers. He says he's ready to work at anything to get started. And that might mean even working in our pork processing plant here in town. Oh, here's some more people.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. I understand that the test the doctors have to take, it can be tough, and that sadly the focus on the English part is going to be strong there, right? That TOEFL or whatever the heck, I can't remember what that test is.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. So we have here, introduce yourself. Say, I am Mary.
Hi, I'm Mary.
Hi, I'm Boris.
Oris.
Boris.
I am Layla.
Leila.
Rashid Jr.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
Oh, here comes the mama. Mama.
Salima.
Salima. This is Salima.
And my older brother.
And the older brother.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. I thought you just brought one person over. You brought over a whole family. How fantastic.
We're still missing one person who didn't get to come yet. He's the oldest, firstborn, and he's 25. So they treat them a little differently when they're older, I guess, at least in this situation. So yes, they're staying at our house for a few days until we get their house ready. We're going to put them to work, helping to do some painting and some cleaning up of the house and And we depend on these strong men to move the furniture in. So, yeah, that's who we are and what we're doing right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
You don't have to leave. If you want to. Your plane was on time and we spent overnight in Des Moines getting some orientation by the Lutheran Refugee Services, who are quite experienced at that. And brought them here on Friday. So yesterday they took a farm tour and Dan took them to the lake and they walked in the water.
Brr.
Be cold.
Brr.
So we have a 22-year-old and a Mary is 20 and a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old. The tallest one is the youngest one, 15. And then Layla is 10. So having a good time. They're very smart family.
It's a shame.
Okay, so.
Can I ask what language they speak? Their original language?
What's your original language?
The original language is French,
Mm-hmm.
and the Lingala,
Yeah.
the Swahili. We have 3 original languages.
How about that? 3 original languages and they know English pretty well as well.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah.
us feel
We're pretty dumb.
inadequate, doesn't
Yeah. My Spanish is like stabbing at a sausage on a pan rolling around with a fork. It's like, am I hitting it?
Mm.
Good morning, Jonathan and Dan.
Morning.
Morning. Speaking of Spanish, a few years back, when we used to do a lot of fishing in Costa Rica or Mexico, I tried to speak the native language where you were out of courtesy to the people. And I was down in Isla Mujeres in Mexico one year and trying to talk with some lady about, I don't know, reservations or something or other. And she said, "Could we speak English? Your Spanish is so bad."
Well, when Andy was in high school, we hosted for one full year a young man from Zacatecas, Mexico. And I thought, oh gosh, here's my chance. I'm going to learn Spanish. But you know what I did? I spent all of my time helping him with his English homework, and I didn't get to learn the Spanish.
It's all service.
Yeah.
No one's at the Goodwin Center this morning because they're working on the floors.
Yep. I mean, there may be people there, but they're working on the floors, not doing worship.
Mhm.
I don't know. Have you seen it, Norma?
No, I have not. They're putting in an epoxy floor, and
Oh,
it will
good.
not be carpet. It will be epoxy, and it will be easy to keep clean and easier to clean.
That's good. It's like our garage floor, right?
Yeah.
So Brent, are you using the owl this morning?
No.
Oh.
The owl's safely at the Goodwin Center. Wasn't any, there was no crowd here to need the owl for, so I'm just using the camera on the laptop.
Okay.
And how was your your workshop or?
It was interesting. As things out at the in Pacific yearly meeting often are. There was a wide range of theological views there, but they liked it so much they asked me to do 4 more sessions on Zoom.
Oh,
So just
lovely.
to follow up, they didn't feel like we covered enough of the material in the time we were there. So I'll be doing Zoom sessions at beginning on the 28th of this month, every Saturday for an hour and a half. So, and of course, it was in the rain that was just starting.
Oh, wow.
And so up in the redwoods, I never saw the sun once. It rained the whole time. Trees came down. And right after we left, a big tree came down and blocked the road, took out all the electric power. And so they were cut off from civilization for about 4 days.
Wow.
And finally got their generators up and going. And
What town were you in?
I was up above Ben Lomond,
Ben
which
Lomond.
is, I don't know if you know where that is.
Yes.
Yeah, up above Scotts Valley. So up in the redwoods.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a great place to visit. Those trees, and think of how they're all interconnected by the root system and communicate with each other. So it's if one goes down, we all feel the trauma
Oh.
and it hurts their roots. So it's really fascinating. So, well, it is time to begin. Nancy will be joining us eventually. She's here. Oh, here she comes. But are there, as far as announcements, the only one I know is that, well, we have Sunday school today. We'll be looking at Saul's daughter and David's wife, Michael. And then next Sunday, we will have monthly meeting. And certainly on the agenda, one of the things we're going to be talking about is setting up a time again to discuss, now that we have the funds in hand, perhaps what we would like to begin thinking about disbursements of any of those and how we'd like to disperse them. We've come up with ideas, everything from just making grants to challenge grants, even matching grants. So that'll be on the agenda to set up a time. And Lynn and Steve have offered for those of us who'd like to meet in person for that meeting, in addition to Zoom, we could meet at their house and take the owl over there. So those are the announcements I know. I think Lynn is they went to Judy Kendall's memorial service, who passed away recently, Keith and Judy. So she was at Judy's memorial. I think there's going to be a meeting of the women's group sometime this week, but I don't remember when it is.
He said is a brother to Florence Emma.
Yeah.
So this is Lynn's aunt.
They were among the first people I met when I moved to Indiana to go to Earlham School of Religion, because I ended up being the pastor at Jericho Friends in Winchester, and Keith and Judy were pastors at Winchester Friends. So Keith kind of took me under his wing, and Judy's always very gracious. So, are there joys or sorrows to share or concerns? Yeah, Megan.
I've been, I'm on the Ministry and Council of Wealthy Friends meeting, and I'm going to start a monthly meeting for healing that I think we'll do at least to start on Zoom. as well as maybe in person too, but we wanted to include a broader community, both in Wellesley and among friends. And if anybody would like to brainstorm with me about, how best to do that, I would love the support. I'm going to have, I think, a little maybe mini committee. So I'll send out an email, but I just want to plant the seed.
Okay,
Betty has something too.
That's
Betty and
okay.
then
She can go
Norma.
first. Okay, my brother is going to have a hip replacement Wednesday, so you might want to keep him in your prayers.
Okay.
That's Dennis.
Dennis?
Mhm.
Okay, I have a joy, and I know the Heschelmans will be interested in this. Granddaughter Emma, on Friday evening at Monrovia High School, even though she's graduated and is into her first year at University of Indianapolis, but the Monrovia High School awarded her Athlete of the Year. And I think because there was a girl and a guy there, it was Girl Athlete of the Year. And so it was a nice little ceremony, and our family, all of us got to go down to enjoy that and congratulate Emma for that award.
Wonderful.
What were her athletic skills? What did she play?
She's cross country and long distance in track and field. And she, as a freshman, broke the school record 4 times, I think, which means she broke her own record 3 times, and has gone to really big meets in various places, and has done really well in her running.
That's great.
And at University of Indianapolis, she is a biology chemistry major on track to be in a medical program.
Well, let's hold these joys and concerns in our hearts and lift them to the light and love of God this morning as we center down. And Sylvia's our worship leader this morning. So please put yourself on mute if you can, and we'll turn it over to Sylvia to lead as she feels led.
We were to start with a hymn today. I would start with "There's a Wideness in God's Mercy." There's a wideness in God's mercy like the wideness of the sea. There's a kindness in his justice, which is more than liberty. There is welcome for the sinner and more graces for the good. There is mercy with the Savior, and there is healing in his blood. For the love of God is broader than the measure of man's mind, and the heart of the eternal is most wonderfully kind. Here it is, 3 weeks since Christmas Day. Many of us have long since put away the decorations and swept up the pine needles from the tree if you had a real one. Some of us are still having a hard time figuring out what to do with those stocking stuffers that were a little strange. I think there were 10 pairs of socks in my stocking. Perhaps you've already received thank you notes from family members and or from the charitable organizations to whom you sent a gift. Maybe you have already sent all of your thank you notes. I have not. And I suppose it's possible that you have tossed away all those Christmas greetings received, but we have not. We keep ours around and enjoy all over again, seeing the pictures of our friends and relatives, children and grandkids, and sometimes their pets. And we like to read again the updated information about how and what they are all doing. Dan and I send a one-page letter to a long list of his friends and a short list of mine, and he gets a lot of cards and letters in return. Now we recognize that some of those letters and cards are simply about keeping in touch more than about celebrating Christmas. But today I chose to remind us about the message Christmas cards brought us and to see if those good wishes that were sent to you have come true for you. I want us to look back at those 3 weeks and think about what this Christmas meant to you. So from Tom and Lisa, the card said, "May God's light shine upon you and fill your heart and home with joy this Christmas season." Well, was your heart and home filled with joy 3 weeks ago? And is it still filled with joy? Some of you know who Sandy Davis is. Sandy and Rich were workers in Kimosi and from Mooresville, Indiana originally. Rich passed away this year. Sandy's card quotes this from Luke 1. "Through the tender mercy of our God, whereby the day spring from on high hath visited us, to give light to them that sit in darkness, to guide our feet into the way of peace." And the message inside the card said, "He is still found by those who seek him. May his presence abide with you today and in the new year." So does the light of his presence still abide with you? Do you feel that your feet are being guided to a place of peace? Dan's longtime friends, Ross and Beverly, their card said, "Let the spirit of love gently fill our hearts and homes." And that was especially meaningful to us from them because they've taken in their homeless granddaughter and a friend who's mentally ill, and they are giving their life to restoring life to those 2 girls. In our home, does the spirit of love still fill your heart as it did on Christmas? Pat Shea sent this poem by Holly Girth titled "Jesus." "He came not to a throne, but to a manger. He lived not as a king, but as a servant. He chose not a kingdom, but a cross. He gave not just a little, but everything." And the message said, "May the Lord's great love bless you this Christmas." Did you or do you now feel blessed by God's great love? Deanne's card had these words, "Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King." And the wish inside said, "May the wonder of that first Christmas, the joy of God's abundant blessings, and the peace of Jesus' presence be with you." Do you still feel God's abundant blessings and the peace of Jesus's presence? The Bofmeyer family said, "Wishing you quiet moments to enjoy the beauty of nature and the serenity of the season." Do you still have serene moments to enjoy the beauty of nature? And from our new friends, Don and Phyllis, "This Christmas, may your heart rejoice in knowing you've received from him the greatest gift of all." Is your heart still feeling gratitude for receiving the greatest gift of all? Well, it's likely that not all of us had those friendly wishes come true so far, but I hope we can say yes to at least a few of them. I'm guessing that most of us experience Christmas in different ways from year to year. I know I certainly do. Some of us have different experiences and circumstances from year to year, perhaps according to the ages of our children, or maybe according to our state of health or wealth. A few of us are still grieving the loss of someone dear to us, and Christmas seems to make us feel more sad than blessed. And we wonder if we'll ever experience joy again. Something new for me this year was that I learned about one man in our Marshalltown meeting who doesn't come to church during Christmas or Easter holidays as long as the decorations are up. As the USFW ladies were talking about that a few weeks ago, I reminded them that early Quakers would agree with him. And I explained their reasoning was that Friends believed that no day was more holy than any other, and that we are to spend all of our days in authentic love to God by serving him according to the life of Jesus. And that does not mean frivolity and new clothes and decorations. The ladies said they had never heard that before. I said that not many Friends strictly adhere to that these days anyway. As you know, the Christmas season for Dan and me has been enriched by our involvement with Rashidi's family. We have been delighted with a number of people who have wanted to help with this process by donations of furniture and furnishings and cash gifts that can be applied toward whatever is needed for this family to relocate to our neighborhood. My sister Patrice's grandchildren seemed glad we asked them if they could bring some good clothes to share. Boys are already wearing them. On our way home from our holiday trip to North Carolina, our car was packed full of donations from Dan's brother's wife and my brother's wife. We have made several purchases of bedding and towels and pots and pans and the like for Rashidi's house with gifts of cash that have been given. And we are feeling the love of God through all of these generous folks as things are coming together for the big move-in day yet this week. We can't possibly know, however, what this feels like to Rashidi and his family as they have waited for this event for 10 years after being chased away from their home in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. As we sat at the table yesterday at lunch and supper time, we heard some of their descriptions of the horrific things they have witnessed and of the fear they themselves have experienced. I haven't asked them how they experienced Christmas this year, if they had a Christmas tree in their little 2-room hut in the refugee camp. I haven't asked them if they felt the love of Jesus, or if they traveled in the same light of the Christmas star guiding their way that we always speak about. I haven't asked them how fervently they have been praying for a home that is safe and circumstances that allow their children to be nurtured and for them to know the peace of Jesus, the way the Christmas cards talked about. But to me, it feels like Christmas has finally come to them, and therefore it has come to us as they have allowed us to be part of their new world. I've noticed that God doesn't seem to have favorites, but rather continues to invite all people to come to him to receive tidings of comfort and joy and peace and love. I believe not everyone knows about that invitation nor trusts the promises of Jesus, but I know that much of the work God does to help people find a worthwhile life is ignored. And I'm pleased that we are connected with those people who take seriously those messages of Christmas. I know you are familiar with the Howard Thurman's poem, The Work of Christmas, but it seems to be a good time to be reminded that when the song of the angels is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and the princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flock, the work of Christmas begins. It begins to find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, to bring peace amongst brothers, to make music in the heart, and yes, to help the refugee relocate to a safe place.
Thank you, Sylvia. We'll now continue with our unprogrammed worship. For all who can stay, for those who need to leave, we wish you a blessed week. And let's continue our worship together, both on Zoom and in our lives this week. Well, if all hearts are clear, we'll close this meeting for worship, and we'll get back together for Sunday school in about 15 minutes for those who can.
I'll be back.
Okay. Bye all.
Bye.